You're listening to the Quince Podcast.
Hi, I'm Vishnu Gopinath, and you're listening to another episode of Vishnu Key's Secret Life. Way back in March 2013, I lost more than 5 kilos of weight in 2 to 3 weeks by eating only fat. I didn't step inside a gym for a single day of those 3 weeks, but I shredded fat. What I'm going to tell you sounds extremely counterintuitive, but stick with me because it worked for me. What I'm talking about is a fat fast. Hi, I'm Vishnu Gopinath, and this is Vishnu Ki Secret Life, the podcast where you learn something new about nutrition, fitness, life, or lifestyle choices, usually through my own, sometimes questionable decisions. Today, I'll tell you about how I ate almost only fat for 2 weeks and lost 5 kilos. It sounds crazy, right? Well, stick around because you're gonna learn about my fat fast. So, during a fat fast, you eat only fat. Big surprise, right? Almost no protein or carbohydrates, just fat. The science behind it is that since fat is so satiating or satisfying, it's hard to overeat it. Contrary to popular belief, you are not what you eat. Fat does not make you fat. Wait, don't switch off the podcast yet, keep listening. And before you continue, a quick little disclaimer. I looked up fat fasting and did my research about fat fasting from multiple online resources. You should do the same before you decide to embark on a fat fast. And if you're going to opt for this, you should do it under medical supervision for a short duration. Only do it if you've already been experimenting with intermittent fasting and other similar weight loss principles. In fact, in some cases, if you suffer from a specific health condition, you most definitely should not be doing this fast. Speak to your doctor and consult a nutritionist before you do this. A fat fast is an extreme step and should, under no circumstances, be done suddenly or without planning. So, now that we're done with the disclaimers, on to my fast. I think I started on the 3rd or the 4th of March 2013 and broke my fast on the 19th of March. Before my fast, I stocked up on supplies. I picked up 2 cans of whipped cream, the unsweetened kind of whipped cream, coconut oil, unsalted butter from a farm, not the pasteurized brand name one that you usually get over the counter from a departmental store, dark chocolate, 72% cocoa dark chocolate. This isn't on a typical fast, but I was having little bits of it so it would help me manage my hunger better. Eggs, bacon, and black coffee. That was it, more or less. So, for the first week or so, this is what I did. I'd wake up, drink black coffee, and study a little bit. If I felt hungry, I'd eat some whipped cream straight from the can. I never went all out and indulged because that would push me well over my permissible intake of carbohydrates. I tried to stick to relatively clean, natural sources of fat like coconut oil, ghee, butter, cream, and animal fat. If you're eating healthy, you should hopefully already have these healthy saturated fats in your diet. Try and avoid polyunsaturated fats and trans fats like vegetable oils and other processed or refined fats. Well, as much as this sounds unconventional, there's some extremely scientific reasoning for why I could keep doing this and why it helped me lose weight. So, fat makes you feel full. Fat keeps you satisfied. So, when you do a fat fast, you're technically tricking your brain into feeling full when you aren't really full. Because your brain thinks you're full while you've actually eaten very little. Because your brain thinks you're full when you've actually eaten very little, you end up burning fat and staying in a calorie deficit. On most days, I never even crossed 1000 to 1200 calories. Here's what happens when you do this step by step. You eat fat. You feel satisfied. Your body releases the hormones that indicate fullness. Your brain and your body think you're well fed enough to stay in a calorie burning state. And you haven't had any sugar, which means you'll keep burning fat. You stay in ketosis, the state that means you burn your own body fat for energy, and you burn fat. If you want to do this yourself, you should pick at least one fat that you really enjoy. Maybe it's butter or coconut oil or even whipped cream if you have very eccentric or specific tastes. Anyway, pick one and eat just that through the day. You can throw in a few other kinds of fat there if you want, if you want some variety. Remember, don't eat processed vegetable oils like sunflower oil, mustard, rice bran, or most other oils. Virgin coconut oil or even regular coconut oil works fairly well. So, now for those of you wondering, was I working out or getting much exercise when I was doing this fast? So, I wasn't working out much during this period. I couldn't really afford to expend any more energy than I needed to because I was already eating a much lower calorie intake. I do maybe 20 push ups a day once in 2 to 3 days. I was hoping to accomplish two things by doing push ups. One, that I try and stimulate my muscles a little bit, and two, to ensure that I didn't lose too much muscle during my fast. I found it very tough to overeat fat. I'd been eating healthy regularly before doing this, so I'd end up feeling too full way before I could overeat fat. The black coffee also helped me stick with my fast by suppressing my appetite. I listened to my body and I went with the flow. So at the end of the first week, I didn't weigh myself. I know I should have, but I didn't. Fun fact, as far as health and weight loss goes, go by how you look, how your clothes fit, and how you feel rather than just your weight to see how your progress is. Because a lot of physical changes might be happening in your body which don't reflect in your weight because your body is recomposing itself in a way that it maintains your weight. As the days continued, I was feeling quite fine, but of course, I'd feel hungry occasionally here and there. I'd feel these pangs of hunger sometimes, but drinking ice cold water and eating either some dark chocolate. Remember, dark chocolate is not supposed to be in a traditional fat fast, this was just for me. And eating maybe some dark chocolate or whipped cream or even two eggs at most. And after that, I'd be good to go for a few hours more. So, by cycling my food in the same pattern, I continued eating this way over the next few days. I felt hungry, but I never felt overwhelming hunger till maybe 18th March, a day before one of my last exams. I think it was the second from last exam that I had. By this point, people were starting to ask me, with quite some concern, whether I was unwell because I lost so much weight in such a short span of time. I remember my friend asking me if I had a serious disease. The C word came up a couple of times. On 19th March, I broke my fast. And I'll be honest, I indulged. After my exam, I had bread patties from near my college. That first bite of deep fried goodness blew me away. I was overwhelmed. My brain couldn't process the explosion of flavors. But also, my stomach hurt. It hurt a bit initially because I'd suddenly eaten a lot of oil, grains, potatoes, and other conventionally unhealthy food. In other words, I'd eaten one of those aloo bread patties that you get in Pune. Yes, I lived in Pune when I did this. Anyway, it tasted so good. I finished my food and I don't remember what else I ate that day, but I remember that my brain was overwhelmed because of the food. I don't remember what else I ate that day or whether I went overboard indulging in the good food. Of course I did. But I had broken my unplanned but fairly well executed fat fast. My weight was hovering between 80 and 81 kilos at the end of the fast. So, what did I learn from this and what should you learn? I had hit a plateau with my weight loss before this. I was struggling to lose more weight. A fat fast was a great way to demolish that plateau. Second, a fat fast is absolutely not a state I would suggest that you stay in for prolonged periods of time. Why? Because while you lose fat, you will also lose some muscle. While I lost fat, I also lost a little bit of muscle. I think I'd lose too much muscle along with the fat if I continued doing this for extended periods of time. And that's not the kind of weight loss you want. Third, a fat fast really helped me understand my hunger better. It's only after you fast for extended periods of time that you truly understand the nature of your hunger. Also, it'll help you develop a much better love and understanding for food. Fourth, fat is really satisfying. I never understood the importance of fat so fully until I realized I just survived a near 2 week period eating almost exclusively just fat. Fifth, water is life. My water intake, and yours if you ever decide to do this, will go up. I drank a lot of water, but I never force myself to drink water to feel full. That's just unwise. And if you overdo it, it could lead to water poisoning. I'll link you to a story about this in the podcast's text. And in conclusion, this fat fast worked for me for a period of 2 weeks. Just for weight loss, it worked really well. But this isn't advisable for longer than a certain point of time because your body downregulates the amount of calories it needs for weight loss if you eat a diet that's low enough in calories for a really long period of time. Meaning, if you've been eating only 1000 calories a day for 2 weeks, your body reduces the amount of energy you expend to make you function more efficiently on that 1000 calories. If you eat more after a certain point, you'll just gain weight again, which makes your whole dieting effort pointless. And finally, a fat fast would work best if you've been eating a diet that's devoid of sugars and rich in healthy fat and protein for long enough before you decide to try this. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm just going to eat fat now for the next week and expect that to work. Be sensible, not stupid. Experiment on your body, but always do it in a well informed, researched, sensible way. That's all we have for you on this episode of Vishnu Ki Secret Life. Join us again for the next episode where I'll teach you something equally interesting, if not more so, about how your body works and how I learned about it from my own experiences. If you like this podcast, you can find more like it on the Quince podcast page. You can also subscribe to the Quince podcast channel on Apple, Spotify, or Google Podcasts.